Hey everyone, this is Tom. I'm starting up my YouTube channel a little bit. Just gonna have some random footage here and there. Talk about other stuff that isn't multiplayer related, just general gaming, news in general, anything that I feel is an important topic. Today I'm bringing you guys some Tomb Raider footage of the definitive edition that just came out. GameStop broke street date, so it's been out a few days now. I'm only doing multiplayer footage. The single player looks amazing, easily. It's kind of hard to record footage on that without including spoilers. There definitely seems to be quite a bit of cutscenes, which isn't a bad thing. It's definitely not on the level of, say, like a Metal Gear Solid 4 or something like that. But there's definitely quite a bit. So instead of, risking having it pulled, I decided to just go with multiplayer. Nothing special here. This is my first match. Went 500. Nothing really too great. Just wanted to show off some gameplay footage while I'm talking. First thing I wanted to go over, surprisingly, Tomb Raider is a bit of a, I wouldn't call it a controversial topic, but it's definitely a hot button topic right now for a number of reasons. First off, the re-release, it's an HD quote unquote remake. It's more of a 1080p remake. It was out on PS3 and Xbox 360 originally. It's already made the rounds. The game's about a year old now, if you count the previous gen. And the new gen version is full retail price. There's no discount of any sort, but it does include all the DLC, and you also get the you get the new graphics, obviously. So, does it really warrant another purchase? A lot of people had take issue with this in terms of, okay, why is there a full $60 price tag? I've already played this game. I've been through it. There should be some sort of discount. And for someone like myself who kind of missed out on this game last gen, I was kind of intrigued by all the effort that they're putting into this. This isn't your typical previous gen, next gen conversion. Like a lot of titles, when you went from Xbox to Xbox 360, like I remember there was a game called Gun. Both the Xbox and the Xbox 360 version looked almost identical. The only reason would be to kind of like unify your library. So let's say you didn't want to have two consoles, but you still wanted to play Gun. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with getting the 360 version, but the visual enhancements were very minute. You really couldn't, unless you went over them with a fine cone and zoomed in at like 500, percent. I don't think you would be able to tell the difference between the two. In this instance, though, I think that the PS4 version looks substantially better than what I'm seeing from the screenshots from the PS3 and the 360. Mainly on the close-ups and the cutscenes, there seems to be the most improvement. I think in some of the gameplay, the character models aren't as amazing as they've been showing in some of the previews. But that's not to say like it's like the cutscenes have a super improved Lara, excuse me. And gameplay just has regular old Lara from, ported in from PS3 and the previous gen. It looks very good. It's probably one of the best looking titles on next gen right now. And for an adventure title, graphics don't make a game. We always say that, but I think in this instance, if you've seen how they do some of the camera angles on this, it's kind of reminiscent, at least to me, like the close-up shots you would see in like the old Indiana Jones movies where he's carrying the torch and he's slowly navigating through, very tight corridors with rocks on both sides. They have a lot of those close-ups, and when you see all the extra detail that they put into the flame effects, the Lara, excuse me, I keep messing that up, Lara character model, it just envelops you in all these scenes that are just very intense. So for myself, who hasn't played the previous gen version, I think if all developers are going to spend this much effort on improving the next gen experience, then I say, yeah, let's get more of these titles. Like Last of Us, I'd love to see a title like that if they spent as much effort improving the overall aesthetics as Crystal Dynamics has with this title. But then there's the other issue right now, and this is kind of typical NeoGAF stuff. PS4 versus Xbox One. For those who don't know, the frame rate is I haven't done a hands-on comparison myself. Digital Foundry hasn't put anything up yet, but there's a noticeable difference in the frame rate. The Xbox One version kind of locking in closer to the 30 frames per second, whereas the PS4 is locked in closer to 60. There's definitely some fluctuations, and in my experience, anything with significant rain or significant fire. The shanty town, when you get to that definitely takes a bit of a hit. But for I'd say at least 60 to 70% of my experience, it's more closer to the 60 frames per second of the Spectrum as opposed to the 30. That being said, though, even when it does dip, the game isn't unplayable. It feels fine to me. If you have both platforms, I'd obviously go with the PS4 just for the improved frame rate, but I don't think you'd be missing out too much if you want with the Xbox One version. I think we're making a little bit too big of a deal of this. This really, for a multiplayer title, having very quick reactions like that, it's very important to have as much performance as possible. So I can definitely see it like Battlefield 4. You would definitely want it like rock solid 60 frames per second, which it is for both consoles. It's more closer to 720p on the Xbox One, but I think the 60 frames per second is more important than, both consoles having resolution parity and then losing some of the performance. So for Tomb Raider, you're getting the same visual aesthetic on both consoles. Obviously, the color temperature is going to be slightly different. Both Sony and Microsoft have different preferences for that. But I think you really can't go wrong buying this title in any sense. I think the way it looks, the way it plays, it's an excellent addition to your collection. The only people I could see maybe not needing to get it would be, like I said, people who've played it already. It's essentially the same title, and if you've gotten all the DLC, there really isn't that much of an improvement. Like, it's not going to make your jaw drop. It's not jaw-droppingly different than what it was on the previous gen. The experience is the same. Visually, obviously, looks a lot better. Some of the reflections on the skin and the redesign Lara model is very impressive, but I think you can definitely take a pass. And let's just, I think as a community, we should just take it easy. We don't need to be jumping down each other's throats saying, no, this console sucks and this is underpowered. Both the Xbox One users and the PS4 users are getting a great experience either way. So based on what I've played of the single player so far, I would definitely recommend it. Multiplayer, it's kind of a throw-in. There's some playability here, but I think you'd be back to Battlefield 4 or whatever else you're playing right now within a week. Anyways, that's been my first video. Hope you guys like it. Definitely give me as much feedback as possible. Like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down. Leave anything that you feel that I should know about.